we're pleased to have here on the Rich Eisen Show now in his role as guest after he's been hanging out here for the last 45 minutes, either defending a pass from Kurt Warner to J.B. Smoove as he did in hour number one, or hanging out with a guy in Kurt Warner he won a Super Bowl with, or Michael Irvin, who he knows from back in the day. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, courtesy of Kay Jewelers. Good to see you, Aeneas Williams.
Glad to be with you, Rich.
Good to
and
have
all
you.
These excited fans.
Yeah, they're all fired up.
Looking forward to an outstanding Super Bowl. This should be a good one.
What do you think? What do you think? When you say it should be a good one,
it should be a good one. It should be a close game. I'm going with the machine, though. I don't want to disappoint any of the Atlanta Falcons fans, but it's hard for me to go against Bill Belichick, Tom Brady in situations like this.
Well, what do they do when you look at defense and you see this defense, Aeneas? And we talked about it yesterday. There's nobody that you jump out. There's no, if you will, let's just use the local parlance here, like J.J. Watt, a bona fide Pro Bowl, all-pro guy. Maybe an all-timer, if you will. There's a collection of really good players and even, obviously some Pro Bowl players. What do you see when you look at this defense that makes them so successful?
It's the difference. I thought about that, Rich. When I think about the New England Patriots, if you start asking, well, who has the number one defense, you probably wouldn't call the Patriots' name. But when you think about how they play what I call team defense, when I went against Michael Irvin, a lot of times great defenses have to do with the sum of the parts working together, and that's what Coach Belichick seemed to have done a terrific job. You may not have that star player, as you talked about, but you have all 11 guys concentrated on one defensive system that's geared to stopping certain things that the opponents do well. I remember going against Michael when I was matched up on him, and I remember Coach Vince Tobin when we played him in a playoff game. He ran a defense. It was cover two, but I would be matched up on Michael. So if Michael went in the backfield, I was on him. If he went left or right, I was on him. But the difference was everybody else, the other 10 guys, was playing cover two, and I was in a man-to-man situation. So what happened was I knew even at times I would possibly have some help over the top. So the key in what I've seen that Bill Belichick coached defenses do, they play collectively as a unit, and that's one of the keys to their success.
Aeneas Williams here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you were with Arizona and Phoenix when the Rams won that Super Bowl, and then you joined the Rams the year that they took on young Brady. What do you recall about your meeting rooms leading up to that Super Bowl where Brady and Belichick started their dynasty together?
Well, one, a lot of people don't realize we played the New England Patriots in Foxborough early in that season. And I remember we were able to cause a fumble on the goal line. Otherwise, they would have scored and would have gone into halftime at least over a 15-point lead. And so at the end of that game, I remember Marshall and I, some of the guys were walking off, and we were saying, if we do what we're supposed to do, it's a high probability that we'll see this team later. So playing them in a Super Bowl, even though the Pandas had us 2 touchdown favorites, one thing I learned early on in the start of Brady's success was the New England Patriots will do whatever they need to do to win a game. In our game, they ran the ball 41 times, right? So what did that do? It kept their defense fresh, kept our offense off the field, and it limited the opportunities because as a defense, we had led the league in creating turnovers. What did the New England Patriots do against the Seattle Seahawks? Brady ends up throwing the ball 50 times. So their team has an ability, an uncanny ability to morph into whatever needs to be done to win the game in the 3 phases of the game. And my concern with the Atlanta Falcons, with some of the young guys that they have on defense, that they've not had experiences against a Belichick team where he may play some defenses or some offensive plays that they've never seen the whole year. That's why I give them the edge this week.
The whole year. They're just keeping it in the bag to pull out just in case they make it all the way to a game like this one.
And
busted out on Matt Ryan.
I found out that one of the things that what Coach Belichick does when he selects players, no matter what level these players play at, found out that he finds guys who are leaders, captains on their teams. And when you have captains, no matter what the level is, you have leaders. And you have guys, usually captains also have the ability to be able to adjust on the fly or adjust in a short period of time, which gives you an edge. You think about a Seattle defense, you think about a defense that's pretty predictable, great talent, but you know what they're going to do. You play the New England Patriots, you don't know what they're going to do, or if they look like they're going to do it, you still are not sure.
Aeneas Williams here on the Rich Eisen Show. How does it feel to be a Hall of Famer? And I ask that of you specifically because, I mean, let's be honest, Kurt's hoping to get into the Hall of Fame this weekend. And a lot of people say, well, he played with the St. Louis Rams, he played with the Arizona Cardinals, and he he got them to these two spots where these teams really weren't used to getting. And you played for the same two franchises. You get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a lot of folks maybe wondered, that you overcame some odds to get there. So how does it feel to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, putting this jacket on, having this Kay Jewelers ring sitting here on the corner of the desk to talk about?
When you have the jacket and you start looking back, I tell the current players when I get an opportunity to talk to them, their cement is what I call wet. Wet is when we grew up in the neighborhood and that guy was laying the cement. But when they left, you had about 5 minutes or so if you were going to get famous and put your hand in the handprint. Once that 5 minutes of that window was up, that cement was dry, you couldn't do anything with it. I am so excited and so glad that I was fortunate to play the game as a thermostat instead of thermometer. In Arizona, Rich, we only went to the playoffs 1 year.
Right.
And if I'd allowed my play to be impacted by whether we won or lost as a team, I would have been a thermometer. I would have been up and down based on the team. One of the highest compliments I believe I received as a player was when the St. Louis Rams traded for me, gave up a second and a fourth round draft pick, and have a running joke with Marshall. They gave up a second and a fourth for me. They gave up a second and 5 for Marshall,
Nice.
right? But he always comes back and said, but they paid me more money. So I'll get real quiet on that one. You got me?
Yeah.
But when Coach Martz and Coach Lovey met me off the plane, they said, we have a winning culture here. You've been playing 10 years. The Arizona Cardinals have franchised me, and I love all my years there.
Sure.
But they said, when we put on the film, it did not matter what the score was. We could never tell by your play on the field. We just saw excellence every game. And that was just a compliment of remembering what it's like and a reminder young players today, football is not like basketball, where one guy can influence a team and determine whether 20 or 30 wins because of one guy. Football is a team game, and you could do everything right as a cornerback or a safety and still things not go well for your team. So when I look back and think of the Hall of Fame career, I am honored and blessed, and I praise the Lord that those voters and those people that do it for absolutely free every Saturday before the Super Bowl and stay in that room and have the arduous task of selecting guys, and no matter who they select, they're going to be criticized. And to be in the Hall of Fame class with this group of men and soon to be some of my other teammates, Kurt Warner and some of the other guys, but to be in this room, it's almost like, Rich, being around someone and you don't have to say a word. You literally can be in a room with the Hall of Famers and be quiet and learn an awful lot.
Aeneas Williams here on the Rich Eisen Show now with the ring, and clearly you're a competitive man. We saw you shut down JB Smoove last hour. We had Marcus Allen with Kay Jewelers yesterday talk about how you sing the jingle, you post it with the hashtag of the hashtag being, I got it right here, Sing for St. Jude donation. They gave Kay will give $100 up to $50,000 in total to the fantastic folks at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Marcus Allen did it yesterday. He had a really good singing voice with, by the way, our studio audience.
I heard about that, right?
Okay. We're about to try this again.
You sound like you're putting pressure on me, Rich.
Well, Aeneas, I am.
I mean, I'm from New Orleans.
We
play a lot of music down there, Rich.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So now...
and Marcus Allen has family. His parents are originally from New Orleans.
Okay, all good. But, you don't strike me as a guy that uses excuses instead of something else, Aeneas.
Well, there's no excuse. It's the excellence of Kay Jeweler. The other thing I want to remind everybody, Rich, is Valentine's Day is coming up. So you go to Kay.com, and you can get your wife, significant other, your daughter, some nice piece of jewelry right there.
Okay, so here we go.
We're doing this together, right?
The whole crew. On the count of 3.
The whole crew?
Everybody, you and the whole crew sings Every Kiss Begins with K. Okay, ready?
You guys ready?
These folks know that.
I said, are you ready?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, go for it, Aeneas Williams.
1, 2, 3. Every kiss begins with K.
Okay. Okay.
How did I do, Rich? It's okay to exaggerate when you have a guest on.
You were great. You know that moment where you said that you sit with somebody and you don't have to say a word?
Got you.
This is that moment.
I got you.
Good to see you, Aeneas.
Good to be with you, Rich.
Got it. The great Aeneas Williams, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.